Okay, so let's start again. Began the last one. I started coughing up right away when I started. You didn't want to be hearing that. I haven't done a video on ancient Egypt for quite a long time, and I thought it's a good time to go back and just look at. There's one specific thing I want to look at, and that's going to be talked about. That's the drill holes, and you'll find these drill holes. Just so we know what we're talking about, we're talking about this here. We're talking about these drill holes that you'll find in granite and basalt rock, and this is going to be Abusir, and I'm going to take you through a trip through Abusir. But you'll find these in Giza, you'll find them in Saqqara, you'll find them in Dashur, all of the old, what are classified as old kingdom sites, but are obviously older than that. And we're going to get a look at these holes to see not just the symmetry of them, the obvious drill marks that are there. You can see the actual cutting tool marks. But that's not really why I want to do this video. Because there's lots of these out there that try to that talk about they had this technology and you need this kind of drill and only certain machinery shops in the world can do these kind of cuts in granite and so we have that aspect. It was more important why are they wanting to drill holes like this into granite, and we're going to try to discuss that as we go along. But I'm just going to show you these are not, I haven't put them in any kind of order. This is a non-random view of Abusir, and I want to also show that to you because very few people have ever been to Abusir. It's a site that has been closed for many years. Even now, it's still quite difficult at times to get in. You have to either pay a lot of money or know the right people in the government to get in. And it's a fascinating site. I want to just talk about it a bit. So this is my last trip there. This would have been 2015, 2016, something like that. I'm there with the hat on my back with a few of my friends that I took with me to Egypt, and this is kind of your walk in. This would have been the old causeway into this pyramid. And what I want you to notice is a combination of two things. One is the size of the blocks that you're going to see, and the really high quality blocks. We're going to look at the flooring where I'm walking to, how the floors have been made, along with the strange cuts and the drill holes, and also importantly, how destroyed the site is going to look. So these are things we want to take a look at. Here at just again various parts of Abusir. Now again, you're looking at a destroyed site, and some will say, well, it's just from time, it's from earthquakes, it was warfare, it was dismantled, whatever. But I mean, when you look at this. When you look at a site like this, and you look at a site similar like Tanis in northern Egypt, this really leads to this is not done, this is not conquerors taking it apart. This is not some sort of natural just earthquake or something. This is a much major destructive force because again, look at the quality of the blocks, the size of the blocks, the hardness of the blocks, the way the blocks that are still in place are positioned together so perfectly. You need a tremendous amount of force to blow this apart. And in certain areas, you're going to find, I don't have photos of it specifically, but I talked about this in What Melted Ancient Egypt, that there are parts of Abusir that show signs of being melted. And when you examine this kind of massive destruction, it's indicating something quite serious went along. Now here's the drill holes, and we'll come to these at the end. I'm just going to take you through the photos I have of Abusir first, and then we'll try to discuss these drill holes with a little more clarity. Again, it's like these have been sheared off. It's like these have been sliced off, and there's no easy answer necessarily to how they've been sheared off so completely. There's a lot of different photographs here. This is a great photographic place. There's a lot to see at Abusir, and I'm just going to try to take you to a couple of the more prominent spots here. This is one of my favorites. I don't even know what they call this, but this site is very much reminiscent of a site I found at Chichen Itza, which was a healing temple at Chichen Itza. And these large standing stones, I think there's actually 20 of them, 21 of them. but they match very carefully to the tarot, to the things Castaneda talked about with the Warriors Party. So this place, even though I didn't really get to spend a lot of time in here, this is one of the spots at Abusir that I'd like to spend a few days researching at, actually just to sit. Similar to how I would sit with stone circles, sorry, sort of how I would sit with stone circles, and just get to know what's going on at the site. This is a famous sarcophagus box in a part of Abusir, and the again we're talking granite stone, and the cuts and the smoothness and the precision work not only of the outside part of the box but the inside part of the box. It's near perfect machining, and the quality and the smoothness of this stone is quite spectacular, and I highly recommend getting in there to just look at the quality and even the quality of the stonework of the walls. Right, you're looking at how good this masonry is around it. But we'll get back when we show the pyramid. There's some hieroglyphs. Water basin. Maybe I can find again the pyramid just to discuss. Like here. So when we talk about the pyramid, but look at we see the perfect masonry, the real high quality way things are put together. But look at the pyramid. It's like just rubble. It's just, and I think again this leads to the idea. Abusir was known. If you dissect the word and you look into it from Stephen Mailer, who wrote Land of Osiris. When you look at the word Ab, that means heart in ancient Egyptian, Ab, heart, and Busir, if you sort of change the word, it becomes Ausir or Ausar, which is the old Egyptian word for Osiris. And so in Stephen Mailer's viewpoint, Abusir becomes the heart of Osiris and becomes an ancient place and one of the real, I think he calls it Buwizir, I think is how he put it in his book. But either way, it's you're linking to heart and you're linking to Osiris, and this might be one of the oldest sites in ancient Egypt, one of the original locations, maybe even earlier than Giza. And then you have to ask, well, why would we have these kind of pyramids if this is an even older site, maybe the original site of the first peoples that came to ancient Egypt? And this would make high sense that whatever was here from the standpoint of pyramids were quite leveled, were quite destroyed, were whatever this destruction was. Some of this was, and this was attempted to be rebuilt. That the ancient Egyptians, what we know as Old Kingdom Egyptians, this is a perfect example of rebuilding it the best they could rebuild it, which lasted 500, 1,000 years, whatever, but was not good enough to survive long term like the original building projects. Again, you see, it's just piles of rubble. But how would you? Again, these are things that just don't match the story when you see the quality of the precision building and the quality of the stonework and the masonry. These type of pyramids don't match when you look at what's at Dashur, what's at Giza, what's at some of these high perfect building sites with large blocks. Why wouldn't they build the same here? And these are real serious questions. Again, you're looking at real high quality block work along this wall, real large stone. So they can work with stone, they can keep it together, but they can't build the pyramids in the background. How about this? I believe that's basalt. I believe this is a basalt floor. And again, I had this video about the floors in Egypt. And the floors of the temples are really, really important because this is where you're creating an energy or a neural charge to the place that you're actually standing on. And it's the same when you go to stone circles here in Scandinavia. Now it's just grass. The main stones are standing up. I'm talking with my hands, but you can't see me. The stones are standing up, and you see the main stone, but underneath what's now grass was also hundreds of stones that are laid out in patterns and circles and spokes, all a part of the energetic structure. And again, these floors and the stone of these floors is really, really important. You get a really good look at the floor here. And again, it's laid down in a mosaic tile work where it's not just laid down in perfect just squares. It's laid down in angles, and then you look at these blocks at the back. I mean, these are large standing blocks that have not had any kind of a lot of them had no damage to them whatsoever from whatever happened here. Me with the site director, photo, me and my friends. But let's get to the point of the video. Oh, this is a very nice photograph, actually, of one of the main temple areas looking back down. And again, I don't know if you can see it, this really interesting carving again on the back of it. This sort of like, it's sort of like steps, but it's not really steps because you can't walk up them. But they have wanted to create this this pattern. Some have said this represents a pyramid structure. I've had lots of explanations as to what this means, but they did want to specifically carve this in and carve it into the back of the temple. And again, another good viewpoint. Whoops, I don't want to do that. Another good viewpoint, we'll just zoom in here to see again some of these very unique marks in the stone. And we're talking carved, really smoothly carved granite. That's a beautiful granite stone and a beautiful finish, certainly not done with copper tools. Going inside a pyramid. Okay, so from there, let's go and look at these drill holes. And again, I want to make sure that this is what we're looking at. These holes that are drilled into these, and you'll find these, like I say, all over the place. So you find these drill holes. Now, from the internet, these are not my photos, but this gives you a little bit better image of what we're looking at. So look at these are groove marks. Can you see these? These are actually drilled groove marks. If you drill into just about anything and you look at the drill hole, you're going to see drill marks. And those who are machinists are able to take the spacing of the ridges and the size of the ridges and be able to tell exactly how much force was being used with the drill bit, what kind of drill was probably. So remember, we're talking like a granite basaltic stone, very hard stone. You need something much harder than that to drill in here, and you need a massive speed to be able to make that kind of near perfect drill cut. And again, they've said there's only a couple of these things in the world that can make this kind of drilling into granite today. Here's another photograph of some of these drill holes, and again, you can see the near perfection of the drilling quality. Let's look again here. I've got a third one. This again, these are from the internet, not from me, but again, it's kind of showing the rotation speed. And again, if you get it, you see them better when you're actually there to see the groove marks. That it's not just you can't chisel this out. Let's put it that way. You can't chisel it out, make that kind of perfect edge, perfect round edge, perfect circular edge, and leave these kind of marks. So the question becomes, what is the point of these? And that's really what I want to talk about today, is what's the point of them? Why do we have all of these drill marks all over Egypt? Now, when we're drilling today, why do we drill into anything today? Do we drill a hole in our wall or drill in a piece of wood? Because we're going to put a screw usually into that hole, right? We're drilling something to make a hole to put something else into it. So I would have to assume it's similar. This is not some sort of decoration. It's not just there for something to do. They made the holes for a very specific reason. There's a lot of work to drill out granite. So what was going in it? Were these in effect some kind of, did they place another piece on top of this that was then had some sort of what we can call a screw or a fastener that went in and held stones together or held stone to something else? That's one possibility. I haven't found, so far I haven't been able to find images where I've got two of these pieces that fit together, where I've been able to find one stone with drill holes on it and be able to find a nearby stone that have drill holes that would be almost in the same distance and location, so that you could say, they could fit together. Even so, unless there's a drill hole going right through the rock, if you're thinking of putting a screw in, it's not a screw. Now maybe they had something like, when you put a table together, when you open a table and you put the middle piece in and you squeeze the table together, they have, one side has holes on it and the other side has notches. if you don't know what I mean, I'm talking sort of something like, you can see it sort of on this photo here, when you're talking with notches, so that the notch, if the other stone had exactly perfectly round notches, then a stone with notches would be able to fit into the one that have holes. Okay, that's an idea if you're thinking of a fastener, or something's being screwed into it. Now I know from my time in in Mexico City, when I had been with been at the tomb of Quetzalcoatl in Teotihuacan. Now, do I have that? I didn't have that ready for you, so let me just have to get rid of all of these images here. Can I find that one for you? It would be in scan photos, I think, maybe. Teotihuacan, Mexico. Do I have one of the serpent head off the right handy? And no, of course I don't. Teotihuacan. No, I've got lots of Teotihuacan, but not the thing I'm looking for. Which was that, yeah, I placed my hand into the opening. The opening of the mouth of the serpent was the perfect size of my hand, and I was able to play. And when I placed my hand, my fist in to that hole, I got a charge of energy, like it just ran right up my entire body. And the same thing happened at Avebury. Avebury has certain stones that has holes in it as well, that you can place your hand or your fist in. And so, is there a possibility that, now, I mean, of course, it doesn't totally make sense in this case that you would build stones like this just to stick your hand into. Obviously, there's got to be more than just that, but it's indicating there's a high energy charge because of the hole. Now, one thing I didn't do that I should have done, and that was place a compass outside of the holes and inside of the holes to see if there's a different magnetic charge, or if there's a different if magnetic north is in a different location. Because I know if you do that at Pumapunku and some of the things at Tiahuanaco with some of the stones and some of the areas out there, that when you're beside the stone, north is one way. When you put it on the stone, or in parts of the stone, north becomes a different direction. So at least indicating that there's been a magnetic change in the stone. Is it just energetic? Is it somehow by drilling into the right places of the stone, you slightly change the energy, you slightly change the charge? And again, maybe they fill this with maybe they fill this with a liquid mercury. Maybe they fill this with copper. Maybe they fill this with a quartz crystal, or rose quartz, or obsidian, or mica. And again, if you think of, maybe they were placing tubes, circular tubes, or even if you took a large crystal, it doesn't have to be round. You could put a faceted crystal in that position, in those holes, for example, and maybe that's what they were doing. The question for me is not so much how did they do it. That's one thing, and that gets most of the attention. It's, again, why? Why are they wanting to drill hole after hole after hole into stones all over Egypt? And to be honest, I don't have a decent answer for it. And that's why I wanted to kind of make this video and just take you through Abusir a little bit, show you a very unique and strange and fantastic site, in case you've probably never heard of it before. And again, to just really, really get an overview of a location that is so. Giza's one thing. Like, Giza's on sort of its own place, but the number two in my fascinating places in the whole world, actually, is Teotihuacan. Is close to this. I haven't been to Pumapunku and Tiahuanaco. That would probably be up there too, but this would be in the top four without question of anything I've known of anywhere in the world. Abusir is an unbelievably strange place, and I'd really like to get a chance to go there at night when everyone's away, the guards are away, and you've got the whole night to just sit there and be with the stones. Again, look at some of the stones in the background again. Like, look, this isn't maybe the best image. I wonder if the image before that. Sorry for kind of jumping around on you a little here. This one here. Maybe we'll try this one. Might be a more clear image. You can see the size of these stones in the background. Again, granite, basaltic blocks. and finely put together. And at the same point in time, the destruction of this is not just time and weathering and sand and an earthquake and whatever. This leads me to, this is a perfect lead to me example of like some sort of plasma blast from the sun, some sort of electromagnetic pulse, some sort of really serious event that created this. And again, if we take this into the simulation theory, which is of course so interesting, what I talked about with Jay Wiedner last week, and this idea that if you're building a simulation, the programmer will put their time into the present and the future, not so much in the past. It'll create a past to have it, but it'll be a lot of questions, a lot of doors will be open, a lot of things will not be able to be understood because the program is focused as much on the present as possible. Whenever that present moment began in the simulation, everything from before that moment will be vague. Here's another example of like vague. What is Abusir? How did it get like this? What was it used for originally? Why do we have perfect building blocks and then crappy pyramids built on top of what is actually real high quality tunnel digging and tunnel work? So it's almost like you got two different structures. You've got the one structure that was there, was somehow destroyed, possibly with all of this. The Egyptians came, didn't rebuild a lot of this, but rebuilt the pyramids. I don't know. Anyway, I'll leave all that with you. I just wanted to give you something different and something Egyptian, which I haven't done for a while. I'll come back, I guess, Wednesday with the next chapter of Falling for Truth, and we'll see where we go from there. Thanks for watching, subscribing, commenting. Again, sorry I don't have much time to answer your comments. I do get a chance to try to read over them, but that's often as much time as I get during the day with all the farm work and what has to be done out here. And now it's been snowing for like 3 straight days. We got like blizzards out here, so I'm just shoveling snow day after day after day. So I don't get a lot of time to do the follow up like people who only have their YouTube channel to focus on, and that's all that they do. But thank you for being around, for watching this stuff, for thinking about what I'm asking you to think about, for contemplating. And I know some people are doing some really good work on themselves, and I know they've been saying thank you quite often, and you're more than welcome. I mean, I'm just providing a small little piece of information, and you're the one doing the work, right? I've just given you a tiny little pointer sometimes, and you've done the work, not me. So really, you should thank yourself for the steps you've taken with the work you've done, and thanks for the book buying, the donations. My plan is to. Sorry, this video is kind of just going on and on and on. My plan is to actually write another one. I'm finally feeling like I think it's time to get down and write another book. My plan is sort of to start maybe in late May, after sort of the main planting season is over. Once I get most of the stuff in the ground as May kind of ends. So I still don't know what the topic's going to be. I've got 2 months to really kind of decide what is it I want to write about this time. What is it I really want? What did I really, really want to focus on? And maybe as we get closer at the end of this month, early April, I might do a video with kind of 3 or 4 suggestions and see what you guys think be the most interesting from the standpoint of a new book. So I'll leave it there. See you with a new Falling for Truth in a few days, and take it easy out there.